All right, we are back again at TPUSA on campus, makeshift memorial right here, and a massive outpouring of emotion, of things, of flowers, of balloons, of flags, American flags, TPUSA flags, Trump flags. Who better to bring in right now? And again, yesterday I went to the memorial, and I'm on the floor. I'm a couple rows back from the stage, so close I could see the tears of the folks who were talking. And while I had that moment there, I had the RAV, the Real America's Voice feed up on my phone, and I was watching, and Steve Bannon was hosting, you know, like he does, like 24-hour marathons of hosting. He's great at it, by the way. And he had this young lady on. This is Maureen Bannon, and she's Steve's daughter, but I'm going to say more importantly, an Army Ranger, a CEO of the War Room, and just an all-around great person. And I said this, I texted Steve live from that. I said, "This is your best guest. This is your best guest. Can she do my show tomorrow?" Maureen, thank you for coming here on such an emotional day.
Thank you for having me on, and there's nowhere else I would rather be. I mean, I wish I was here for better circumstances, but it means a lot to be here.
Yeah, so you told us, and I'm not sure I should do this on air, but you told me a little story that it was very emotional, wasn't it, yesterday?
It was.
How'd you keep it together?
I drew courage and strength from Erica Kirk, actually. The fact that, you know, a couple of days after Charlie was assassinated, she came into the studio, and the address that she gave the nation, and then the address that she gave, or the speech she gave yesterday, she's just a woman of such courage and strength, so I drew a lot from her. It was very hard. I tried to remember no crying in the war room, but it was very hard.
Is that a rule? Is it on the wall? No crying. No crying. Baseball, no.
But it was emotional because Charlie was a friend, and he will be severely missed. But it was very inspirational also to be there yesterday and just to see how many people he touched. You didn't see just his friends in the crowd. You saw all these people that were inspired by him throughout the years. So, and the fact that there were people outside and even across the street in another arena, they truly wanted to honor Charlie, someone who inspired them to do better in their life. You know, go to church, get back and have a good relationship with Jesus, or get involved with politics. It was just very moving to be there.
It's shocking, the number. We had heard that the stadium, State Farm Stadium, seating is 63,000. You could put more people, you know, on the field. They put seats in there, and they said we're going to get around 70,000. And most people are like, "Oh, I'm not sure they're going to." It was packed, folks. It was the overflow arena was packed with people as well. People standing around everywhere. It's just an incredible. And they estimate now 250 to 300,000 people showed up for the event. That's the size of a mid-level major city in the U.S.
Oh, I agree, and I think that's more than the Super Bowl's ever seen. So it just shows how many lives that Charlie touched, and how many people just wanted to celebrate his life, pay their respects, and also just show that they're going to pick up the mic. The mic didn't fall, and it's not going to stay on the ground or stay on the table. It's going to be picked up and carried on by all these people.
Yeah. Interesting. You know, Erica had a very passionate speech. It was amazing, and like I said, I could see the tears. It was like, anyone who says she wasn't crying, they're lying. I mean, I was right there. I saw her speaking, and wow, it was emotional, especially when she said she forgave the assassin, which just the whole place started. I mean, everyone's started crying.
She brought me to tears.
Yeah. And then Trump later on came in. He kind of vocalized where I am. He was mad. He seemed to me like, and at one point he said, "We're not going to let this guy. We're going to throw the book at him. We're going to go after him. We're going to go after the cell that's part of this cabal that's taking down conservatives." That's my emotion right now. That anger. I'm still fire inside right now.
I mean, I'm still mad. You know, I still have anger, but I think that drawing strength from Erica, you have to let go of the anger in order to heal. And I mean, they'll never be fully healing from this, but in order to, I think, function is why she said, "I forgive him." But that doesn't mean just because I forgive him doesn't mean you're not going to seek the death penalty. And I had this discussion after the coverage. Just because she said, I forgive my husband's assassin, doesn't mean that he's not going to be brought to justice. Charlie said in many of his debates when he was asked, do you believe as a Christian in the death penalty? He said, yes, in the Bible it says, if you take a life, your life will be taken. So Charlie supported the death penalty. That's why I believe that's why they went for the death penalty, not only because that was the wishes of Charlie, but I think Erica Kirk. But just because she said that doesn't mean that that's
she can't
all
forgive him.
Yeah.
She can forgive him as
Yeah.
they put, a few into his body that he so much deserves. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to get Maureen Bannon. We're going to have to wrap because we have not your father. We have
President Trump.
I think someone called him Daddy. We have President Trump who's taking over the show. Thank you guys so much, President Trump, folks.
But I think we've made a lot of strides. I wish it was done a long time ago. Today we're delighted to be joined by America's top medical and public health professionals as we announce historic steps to confront the crisis of autism. Horrible, horrible crisis. I want to thank the man who brought this issue to the forefront of American politics along with me. And we actually met in my office, is it like 20 years ago, Bobby? It's probably 20 years ago in New York. I was a developer, as you probably heard, and I always had very strong feelings about autism and how it happened and where it came from. And he and I don't know, the word got out, and I wouldn't say that people were very understanding of where we were, but it's turning out that we understood a lot more than a lot of people who studied it, we think. And I say we think because I don't think they were really letting the public know what they knew. Thanks as well to the director of the National Institute of Health, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary. These are great people. Administrator of the Centers for Medicine and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, and Acting Assistant Secretary of HHS, Dr. Dorothy Fink. So thank you all. Thank you, Dorothy, very much. The meteoric rise in autism is among the most alarming public health developments in history. There's never been anything like this. Just a few decades ago, 1 in 10,000 children had autism. So that's not a long time. And I've always heard, they say a few, but I think it's a lot less time than that. It used to be 1 in 20,000, then 1 in 10,000, and I would say that's probably 18 years ago. And now it's 1 in 31, but in some areas it's much worse than that, if you can believe it, 1 in 31. And I gave numbers yesterday. For boys, it's 1 in 12. I was told that's in California where they have for some reason, a more severe problem. But whether it's 1 in 12 or 1 in 31, can you imagine? That's down from 1 in 20,000, then 1 in 10,000. And now we're at the level of 1 in 12 in some cases for boys, 1 in 31 overall. So since 2000, autism rates have surged by much more than 400%. Instead of attacking those who ask questions, everyone should be grateful for those who are trying to get the answers to this complex situation. And the first day all of these great doctors behind me were there, I told them this is what we have to find out. Because when you go from 20,000 to 10,000 and then you go to 12, there's something artificial. They're taking something. And by the way, I think I can say that there are certain groups of people that don't take vaccines and don't take any pills that have no autism. Does that tell you something? That's currently, is that a correct statement, by the way?
There are some studies that suggest that, with the Amish, for example.
The Amish, yeah, virtually. I heard none. See, Bobby wants to be very careful with what he says, and he should, but I'm not so careful with what I say. But you have certain groups. The Amish, as an example, they have essentially no autism. First, effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol, during pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good. For this reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary. That's, for instance, in cases of extremely high fever, that you feel you can't tough it out, you can't do it. I guess there's that. It's a small number of cases, I think. But if you can't tough it out, if you can't do it, that's what you're going to have to do. You'll take a Tylenol, but it'll be very sparingly. It can be something that's very dangerous to the woman's health. In other words, a fever that's very, very dangerous, and ideally a doctor's decision, because I think you shouldn't take it. And you shouldn't take it during the entire pregnancy. They may tell you that toward the end of the pregnancy, you shouldn't take it during the entire. And you shouldn't give the child a Tylenol every time he's born and he goes and has a shot. You shouldn't give a Tylenol to that child. All pregnant women should talk to their doctors for more information about limiting the use of this medication while pregnant. So ideally, you don't take it at all. But if you can't tough it out, if there's a problem, you're going to end up doing it. The other thing that I can tell you that I'll say that they will maybe say at a little bit later date, but I think when you go for the shot, you do it over a 5-time period. Take it over 5 times or 4 times, but you take it in smaller doses and you spread it out over a period of years. And they pump so much stuff into those beautiful little babies. It's a disgrace. I don't see it. I think it's very bad. They're pumping, it looks like they're pumping into a horse. You have a little child, little fragile child, and you get a vat of 80 different vaccines, I guess, 80 different blends, and they pump it in. So ideally, a woman won't take Tylenol. And on the vaccines, it would be good instead of one visit where they pump the baby, load it up with stuff, you'll do it over a period of 4 times or 5 times. I've been so into this issue for so many years just because I couldn't understand how a thing like this could happen. And it's artificially induced. It's not like something that when you go from all of those, healthy babies to a point where I don't even know structurally if a country can afford it. And that's the least of the problems. To have families destroyed over this is just so terrible. I also, and we've already done this, we want no mercury in the vaccine. We want no aluminum in the vaccine. The MMR, I think, should be taken separately. This is based on what I feel, the mumps, measles, and all the 3 should be taken separately. And it seems to be that when you mix them, there could be a problem. So there's no downside in taking them separately. In fact, they think it's better, so let it be separate. The chicken pox is already separate, because when that got mixed in, I guess they made it 4 for a while, it really was bad. So they make chicken pox. Individually, they're okay. When you mix them, something maybe happens. So there's no downside in doing it. It's not like, if you do it, bad things. No, it's only good side. And it may not have that much of an impact, but it may have a big impact. So let those be taken separately. And then hepatitis B is sexually transmitted. There's no reason to give a baby that's almost just born hepatitis B. So I would say wait till the baby is 12 years old and formed and take hepatitis B. And I think if you do those things, it's going to be a whole different, it's going to be a revolution in a positive sense in the country. The FDA will be updating the label of an existing drug to reflect potential benefits in reducing some autism symptoms. This gives hope to the many parents with autistic children that it may be possible to improve their lives. That's one of the things that I'm very, very happy about. I mean, this was mostly going to be on how not to have the child affected, but we've learned some pretty good things about certain elements of genius that can be given to a baby, and the baby can get better, and in some cases maybe substantially better. Not going to be easy, but be a lot easier if it didn't happen in the first place, as these great parents fully understand, right? They fully understand. I feel so terribly for... I have so many friends with autistic children. It's a tough situation. Finally, to help reach the ultimate goal of ending the autism fever, the NIH will be announcing 13 major grant awards from the Autism Data Science Initiatives. And to be honest with you, to me, that's the least important. It's not even a money thing at this point. There's so much money, but they have to do, and they have to move quickly. When the alternative is that nothing bad can happen, let's do it now. I was just saying to Bobby and the group, let's do it now. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. But with Tylenol, don't take it. Don't take it. And if you can't live, if your fever is so bad, you have to take one, because there's no alternative to that. Sadly, first question, what can you take instead? It's actually, there's not an alternative to that. And as you know, other of the medicines are absolutely proven bad. I mean, they've been proven bad with the aspirins and the Advils and others, right? And they've been proven bad. So I'd like to ask Bobby to get up to the podium and say a few words, and then Dr. Bhattacharya and Dr. Makary, Dr. Oz, Dr. Fink, followed by two incredible mothers that have experienced firsthand what this country is going through, what parts of the world are going through. And I will say there are parts of the world that don't take Tylenol. I mean, there's a rumor, and I don't know if it's so or not, that Cuba, they don't have Tylenol because they don't have the money for Tylenol, and they have virtually no autism, okay? Tell me about that one. And there are other parts of the world where they don't have Tylenol, where they don't have autism. That tells you a lot. And I want to say it right now. And, you know, the way I look at it, don't take it. Don't take it. There's no downside in not taking it. So I'd like to ask Bobby to come up and say a few words. I hope I didn't ruin his day, but that's the way I feel. I've been very strong on the subject for a long time. You know, life is common sense, too. And there's a lot of common sense in this, and I wish things like this were brought up, and this group has worked so hard on it, but I'd like to be a little bit more, a little speedier in the process of a recommendation, because there's no harm in going quicker. There's absolutely no harm. At worst, there's no harm. Thank you very much. Bobby, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. To meet the President's challenge, I ordered HHS to launch an unprecedented all-agency effort to identify all causes of autism, including toxic and pharmaceutical exposures. At President Trump's urging, NIH, FDA, CDC, and CMS are turning over every stone to identify the etiology of the autism epidemic and how patients and parents can prevent and reverse this alarming trend.